Hello and welcome. I hope you're all having a happy Friday night. This is your host, Buntu. I'm here with my fabulous guest panel. We're going to be talking tonight about the Trump Lewd Tape fallout. What has occurred since, I don't know, has it been 7 hours already? We have Boom Boom, otherwise known as Pyong. We have the lovely Ermine, and we have my good friend Jim Barrick. How are you doing all tonight?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay, you all are, Trump supporters. How do you feel at the moment?
Shut up.
Well, okay, Ermine.
But let's say, for example, somebody switches from Bernie to Trump. Are you going to be nice to them? Come on.
Okay, we will have to talk about that, Jim, the Bernie to Trump supporter. Okay, Ermine, just for the sake of our listeners, could you have a quick background on the Lewd Tape as it is at the moment? Thank you.
All right, I'm not doing a Donald Trump voice, but I'm going to give you what he said. Yeah, I did try to fuck her. I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out for furniture shopping. She wanted furniture. I'll show you where to buy some nice furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see her. She's got now these big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I've got to use some Tic Tacs just in case no, he starts talking about another person, but he says, I got to eat some Tic Tacs just in case they start kissing her. You know, right. I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Okay. Anyone want to begin?
Well, first I'd like to say that was an amazing reading. That was a fantastic job you did. Much better than I could have done.
Yeah, if I was going to say there was a literal expression, I would actually phrase it as a clitoral expression. Just so you.
What in the Jimmy?
I just think it's hilarious. Remember that one guy was like, fuck him in the pussy. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now it's hashtag grab them by the pussy. Oh.
It's amazing.
I'm actually going to tweet that. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, but literally, what are we talking about?
Okay, well, Pyong, want to commence?
How did we get here? You know what I'm saying? Why did the Republican Party, which isn't filled with absolute morons, I mean, I know some Republicans, I can get along with them, they're nice folks, you know. When I think of a Republican, I think of somebody who identifies with the types of characteristics that the Republican Party espouses, that they aspire to be, you know, fiscally conservative, somebody who is
sounds like brown shirts. Sorry, buddy.
Well, whatever, but I'm saying that they're not insane. You know, they're not crazy people, the Republicans that I know. The Republicans that I know, they're well adjusted to society, but they get this fucking guy that is so imperfect. And I'm sorry, these equivalencies that people create about Hillary Clinton being imperfect and unliked, right? And they say it's the same thing as Donald Trump being imperfect and unliked. That's fucking total bullshit. I mean, Hillary Clinton, you might not like her. You might not have the guts to say you prefer over Clinton, or I'm sorry, I misspoke, over Trump. But she was Secretary of State, so she has a handle on foreign policy. She's been in government for a long time. She knows how everything works. She knows the ropes. She's not fucking insane. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How did we come to this point? I mean, you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. You want to vote for a turd sandwich or a douchebag? What do you want to vote for?
That's what they put up, but, you know, is that actually accurate, Jim? I mean, we have an accomplished politician against...
An accomplished politician. How many politicians do you know that run a foreign policy that have already...
Right. You can just... Hey, Jim, I'll save you some time. You can just say, cut and paste attacks on Hillary Clinton here. I get your point.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. Well, I mean, just put his record up as a non-politician up against a politician.
Okay.
Right. That's exactly right. That's why I say it's a false equivalency. He has no experience at all.
So he's a Ross Perot on steroids with a pair of balls.
No, well, if you want to put that out there, that's fine. You got to back that up. I didn't put that out there.
But
I'm
Jim,
sorry. Go ahead.
Ross Perot had positions. This man has not had any positions. Even in the first debate, he had no positions. I mean,
you make America great again by grabbing him in the pussy. Sorry.
that's what it sounds like. That's probably the strongest thing he's come out. Okay, listen. He came out in the first debate with trade, right? Was that an actual position, guys, that one could rely on, that, you know, he was going to have a trade war in order to make America great again?
Well, listen, I'm sorry. I mean, go ahead.
Sorry. I think anything that's against the TPP is probably a good idea. And some of these, you know, agreements, a lot of them. The TPP is horrible. So that he stood against that was actually a good thing. But if he could stand against something, stand for something, and shut the hell up, he'd be in a good spot.
Right. Okay, he's against bad policy. What is the good policy that he puts forward?
Right.
How are you going to determine that? You have to give it a chance.
But no, it's very simple. And I think I have an answer to that. And what Trump has pursued is basically what is a populist strategy against globalism. And it's actually a very smart strategy. I was talking to a friend of mine years ago, and I said the same thing. I would run a populist campaign. It's a great idea. But Trump doesn't fundamentally understand what he's saying. Okay? Now, if you're against globalism, I have no problem with that, because American citizens have been hurt by globalism. There is no argument against it. It's absolutely certain.
Okay.
Manufacturing has left the United States, so many people who thought they could, you know, in the 1970s, where I live right now, you could get out of high school, you could go work at the steel mills, you had a great job for the rest of your life until you retired and died. Okay.
But since NAFTA, that's all went downhill, right?
Right, Jim. Yeah, and in a larger macro.
It was before NAFTA.
Oh, how much before? I mean, really, how much before? I mean, did Reagan have anything to do with that?
No.
Yeah. Yes.
That's right, Jim.
I want to hear Boom on this one. How did Reagan have to do with this? Because
I can answer that one, John.
But I thought Reagan gave his boys a fair shot at the market, a free capital, type of mentality.
I know exactly how Reagan messed this up.
But there's listen to my larger point first, Jim. Okay, whether you believe that globalization policies were initiated by Clinton, which is what it sounds like you're saying, which that's fine, or if they were initiated before then, the fact of the matter is that they have been initiated, and now they are what we exist in. And so in a macroscopic way, what happens in the United States is that we are now a large consumer market that has value. We are also a massive location, a target place for investment.
Yeah, because of credit. Because of credit.
Well, let's not even get lost into why right now, but let's just look at the mechanism. So we purchase things and money flows out of the United States into other sovereignties, business entities, and individual, and then aggregates in these places, okay? Then, as that money aggregates, it comes back to the United States in the form of investment. That's why in the United States, 66 or more % of our economy is from financial institutions. Okay, so that's the macroscopic mechanism. Okay,
but they don't do the same tax rate as normal citizens.
That's right. But you're right about that, Jim. But for right now, let's just, that's the system. Okay, that's the big system. Money flows out from our consumers, just like you said, has to do with debt, and then it flows back in. And you're right with the taxation inequality. However, that's the mechanism. So when Trump says his populist idea is to start a trade war perhaps, or increase tariffs at the very least. He said that explicitly. That's one of the that's one of the few things. Hold on, Jim, hold on. So he's going to increase tariffs. Now, that would be okay for American citizens. I'm not saying it wouldn't, because what it would do is it would slightly increase production in the United States for certain goods. However, it would also cut off a lot of that flow through money that leaves the United States as consumer cash and comes back as investment income, which would ultimately drop the GDP. Now, one thing that every president has been gauged on since it was brought into existence is GDP. If he's in an economy that is shrinking, they're going to call him a fucking loser, and he would never do it. So the only solid policy that I've heard from him with regard to trade, he would never do. He would be prevented from doing.
Okay, one thing I'd like to shoot in real quick, Jim. Okay, something happened on last Sunday that was, very, what would you say, revelatory as far as this guy. He did a $900 million loss and never had to pay taxes for like 18 years, all right? So one thing you asked, didn't this thing happen before NAFTA? I would say yes, because with Reagan, we had something called trickle-down economics where we had tax cuts. And so, you see, when you guys knock NAFTA as being, Pyong said globalism was very bad for the American consumer, the middle class, I will say. But it was lucrative, Pyong, for the rich. They're the ones that...
Right. So if you get rid of the banking regulations, all you have to do is make a derivative, and there you go.
No. I didn't say it was bad for the consumer. It actually is not bad for the consumer, but for the American worker, the American manufacturing worker.
How about that, Pyong? Whoever is not the 1% suffered at the hands of a NAFTA trade agreement, right?
Well,
but the guys like Trump, who could my God, I'll just take a $900.
I wouldn't say. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I wouldn't say anyone who wasn't a 1% suffered. I would say more people suffered because you have a substantial shift.
Yeah, right. So the beast created this machine, Donald, and we know that Donald took full advantage of every tax hands on, right? And somehow or another he recovers and makes this just amazing recovery as far as his business goes. How do you define him being bankrupt and then becoming once again a millionaire, a billionaire?
Look what happened, Jim. He did a $900 million loss.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that there's other candidates who are not politicians don't do the same thing?
Well, we're not saying that. I mean, the thing is that...
But politicians do the same thing, exactly what he's done.
More than politicians, citizens, people who have small businesses.
Your tax,
use the laws to their favor.
Exactly.
I cannot, on my personal tax return, claim losses that don't exist. That's exactly what Donald Trump did.
Well,
but you're comparing your personal income tax to him, who was using it as a corporation.
Exactly.
No, it wasn't him.
No.
Well, what he did was he leveraged
lost $946 million.
He leveraged losses against potential future capital gains taxes that would be levied. So, but he didn't. It's important to note he didn't do it. His lawyers did it. I'll guarantee you.
But that's because he wants to keep the money in the system. He doesn't want to lose what he had already put in. I mean, if he already paid taxes against, all the money he made up to that point, what is he supposed to do? Just roll over and die?
But these are potential losses. These weren't actual real losses that he had. That's what's shocking about this deal.
But you're allowed to make a mistake and recover. I mean, isn't that the beauty of, what we do here? Free market, free capitalism?
That is a gaping loophole. Look at this, this guy. I could have made this money, but since I didn't, I won't have to pay taxes for the next 18 years. I mean, that's outrageous, man. And that's legal in this country right now.
Let me flip the coin. I flip the coin for a moment there. How about Bunto, people who say sue for potential future income due to some kind of loss they've suffered?
You mean like, they killed my dad, so I want to sue that company for, killing my father. for an amount of money, you know, that I think that he could have made something like that.
Maybe you got injured somewhere, right? And you sue the place, right? And part of the damages is that injury stops you. Say you injured your hand, and that hand was vital in a specific trade for you to, you know, make money, right? So you sue for potential future income. Okay. So I'm trying to make the case for the other side.
I think you guys are kind of missing the point. The issue is not that he took advantage of the tax system. That's irrelevant. If you guys are bitching about our tax system and the fact that you can't get access to it, it's your own stupid faults. Go start your own business and get access to that tax system. My issue with it is if you are such a great businessman, is that if that's the platform you're running on and you lose $1 billion,
oh, excuse me,
file corporate bankruptcy 4 times.
Oh, excuse me. What did he start with? What did he start with?
Let me finish, Jim. That is not the mark of a good businessman. And that's the differentiator. Everybody can take access to that tax loophole. I don't have an issue that he took access. Just don't get up there and piss on my leg and tell me it's raining that you know business. No,
I don't think everybody can take access. I think only real estate people, right, John?
Yeah, for that one, but there are carry forward losses in business. So if you lose $50,000 in business, you are allowed to carry it forward 5 to 7, 8 years. There is a period of time that you could carry it forward.
Yeah,
There's tons of tax loopholes in business. So no, the rest of us can't take advantage of that. My biggest gripe is that's not the issue. Fix the loopholes. We all know that. It's don't tell me you know business when you got $14 million loan from your dad, when you lost $1 billion, when you've been bailed out from your dad on numerous times, when you bankruptcied 4 times.
Yeah, tell all the corporations that hide their money off seas that. Just don't. That's so baloney.
That's not the point. What do you mean? Nobody is. That is.
I mean, what if a manufacturing company leaves, you know, and moves offshore, and they want to sell it back to us? Are we just going to let them like tax free?
Do you understand that that's what Donald Trump does when he makes his ties in Asia?
Yeah, he makes his ties in Asia, so he's imperfect, and you know what? He wants to fix that. So what's your problem?
He doesn't want to fix it. Otherwise, he would have moved his manufacturing back here.
He's dedicated in just taking advantage of cheap foreign labor, and all he wants to do is promote bringing businesses back.
Jim, one thing,
business back. I think I'm going to need you to knock, knock, wake up. Who people are in politics is who they are in life, and his practices in his businesses have indicated that's who he is.
Yes.
Yeah, Jim, I mean, I just explained why Donald Trump would not do what you just said he would do. Now, he said it in his rhetoric, okay? Yeah. But, and like Armin says, a lot of politicians, you know, in their rhetoric, they say one thing and then they get into office and they don't do what they say. As a matter of fact, I think we could make that accusation against all presidents who've been elected.
Yeah, like Obamacare and everything. Yeah, okay.
Well, he didn't say anything about Obamacare in the rhetoric leading up to the election per se, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, but one thing, guys. Okay, Trump said after the revelation came out with the tax imbroglio, whatever. Oh my God. He said that since he knew how to game the system, he was the best one to be, you know, president.
Well, that's why he hides his taxes. I mean, duh.
Well, Jim, that doesn't make any sense. If he's proud of it and he thinks that this is an indicator why he should be president, why does he not release them?
Okay, so you're saying that he has to release them to
No, I asked you a question. If he's saying that this is proof that I will be a good president, why does he not release that proof?
Okay, well, that's an if statement, so you're going to have to give me a little bit more testimony.
I was pretty plain on
What in the fuck are you talking about, Jim?
You're basically saying basically a guy that, I guess, according to Ermine, was borrowed $14 million, made up almost $1 billion, had to, you know, go, and now he's using all to his advantages, his business smarts, that politicians put as a policy in front of them. And
Jim, if we could really see how this guy made his money, boy, I bet you. I think Hillary was right in that debate when she said he's trying to hide something. Obviously, he does not want to reveal.
And here's my biggest problem with all of it. I don't care if you're a great business person and take that on. That doesn't mean you're going to be a great president because of that. What it makes it look like is you are hands down a single word, and that is duplicitous. And that is the nicest word that I can actually say.
You couldn't use pandering at all, huh?
I wouldn't use pandering. He's duplicitous.
Yes, he's duplicitous.
Yeah.
Well, like this, I look at the Trump candidacy as a win-win. You know, at one point it was a win-win that he would run for president. He would get, his he could become president, right? There's a win. Or if he did, he lost, at least he was popular enough, in his, Q rating or whatever they have for a celebrity that, he would be a big name, a big get for television afterwards.
So how does Irving and Pyong think about the China devaluating their currency?
This conversation isn't about the yen.
Yeah, but it's not. But the point is, if you were a smart businessman, how would you create a fair trade with somebody devaluing their currency?
Well, Jim, okay, so I understand what you're saying, and China has historically pinned the value of their currency somewhere below the US dollar in order to maintain an absolute trade advantage with regard to labor, right?
Yeah.
Hello? Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So, now your question is what?
Well, if he's going to bring back manufacturing jobs, how are you going to compete with somebody that has an investment overseas that's basically a foreign company? I mean,
right. Okay, so what he would have to do is he would have to have tariff on goods that are manufactured outside of the United States, and then that tariff would be equal to or greater than the difference between the absolute advantage that they have in their not only currency but in their and the basis of the separation of our two economies. Labor, like Bunto said, and some other things, shipping.
It's called protectionism, Jim. Protectionism.
Right. So what Trump would do is he would establish a tariff, and there's another thing he could do as well, because, and this is something that George Bush did when he was attempting to pay for the Iraq War before it was on the budget. He went to our various trading partners and he said, okay, I'll allow you to ship into the United States, say, 5,000 extra dryers this year. So Trump could actually go in there and modify those agreements and say, you can't ship those in. Okay, those are trade restrictions, and tariffs go along the same lines. And once he would do that, the market would not, like, let's say the U.S. market for, just because I said dryers, I'll stick with it, is 20,000 dryers a year. I'm sure it's much more than that, but let's just pretend. If Trump says you can only import 5,000, then that means we have to produce 15,000 domestically. So that's what he could do.
Yeah, but that's because there's a loss of jobs in the overall. I mean, you're gonna have to pay a higher cost in some end, aren't you? I mean,
not necessarily. I mean, there's no real reason. See that what happened with a lot of that absolute advantage in manufactured good costs was eaten up by distributors, retailers, or say Walmart, for example.
Not taxes, though.
They buy something from China for 15 cents, and then they mark it up to, like an HDMI cable. They mark it up to $10 and they sell it in Walmart. Who do you think that money goes to? It goes to the owners of Walmart.
Yep.
Right.
So if you
on taxes, by the way.
If you made that HDMI cable in the United States and you didn't have that absolute advantage, say you didn't buy it for 15 cents, but you could still manufacture it for, say, $7. You'd still make $3. So there's money.
Wow, so you'd rather have all your products made overseas, huh?
No.
I don't know how you got that from what I just said.
It sounds like you're saying that we can't drive down the price within a free market. We can't do it, you're saying.
There is a way that we could compete with China, and that's through innovation, right? What happens is the Chinese, we sort of give them ideas, and they capitalize. You know, they do knockoffs on our.
Right. That's why we can't necessarily compete through innovation. I hate to say it, but I think Americans, we're going to have to wake up and realize that we're no longer a manufacturing economy. We're a service one. So it's either you.
That's given up altogether, though.
I would have to agree with Jim. That is giving up.
It's the truth, though. That's what I do for a living is strategy. And the reality of it is we have to start, you got to see yourselves in a certain light. You're either a strategist or you're the one that owns the production.
Okay. Hillary said something very intriguing at the debate. 1 second. She said that some country is going to be the #1 leader in clean energy. Did that guys pique your interest at any point in that debate?
That could be. That would be great if we did. That would be all right. I'm not saying I don't want to sidestep your question. So yeah, Bunto, I think that would be great. I don't see that the money in that sector is big enough to compete with financial.
Oh wow.
I mean, look at here's the problem. I have to disagree with what Ermine said. It is absolutely possible for the United States to become a manufacturing powerhouse again. Absolutely.
I disagree fully.
Well, but here's why. Here's why. The policies are made to benefit the lion's share of the economy. The lion's share of the economy is now financial. That's why politicians have been saying that we are in a service economy now and get used to it. If we had a politician who was actually strong enough, and Jim, no, Trump is not this man or person. If we had a politician who was actually strong enough, we could do what Japan did in, say, 1850 to 1900, when they actually closed off all of their borders, okay? They reinvigorated their own country, their infrastructure, their manufacturing, and they emerged as a power that actually waged war.
But bottom line, Japan took advantage of all the loopholes, and now they're in a 20-year recession. Sorry, wrong.
Holy shit, Jim.
Not even
I said 1850.
I know, but you want to bring it back all the way to there. Just keep current. Okay.
Let me tell you why I disagree with that notion of the 1850 to the timeline that you indicated and where we're at. The sad part is the reason I believe we're headed more towards a service economy than we can actually bring back manufacturing is one of the things that we have actually lost, unfortunately, in this 30-year period, maybe 40-year period of declining manufacturing in the United States is the ability to manufacture.
Wrong.
Is the artistry.
No, you're wrong.
Wait, hold on a second. Are the the actual buildings, I forget what they're called, the facilities where you manufacture, factories, thank you. All of that dynamic, I hope that has gone. And people are being educated now and are moving down this path of service, of IT, you have banking, you have all these other markets that are opening up. What is the resistance in moving towards where the market is opening up?
Well, I hear what you're saying, Ermine, but here I have one response to that, okay? You say that we're incapable of manufacturing. China in the 1950s was an agricultural backwater. I mean, it was, if you saw anything that was manufactured in China, it was laughable.
Right.
Somehow, they now have manufacturing. There is nothing that would restrict the United States. There is nothing that would restrict the United States from doing the exact same thing if we were in the abysmal situation that you say.
An economy go backwards.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not. But see, is it possible that the postulate that a globalized economy is a rung up from a manufacturing economy?
I'm not talking about a globalized economy. I'm talking about a service one.
Yeah, but the service
from a manufacturing one. It is.
Right. I mean, but the reason that everybody says we're in a service economy now is because globalization has drained manufacturing jobs from the United States. So that's why they say we're in a service economy.
Right. Exactly.
But one thing, guys, we don't build our tanks and our aircraft carriers in China.
No, you're right. Automotive.
We don't do that much of that either. In automotive, we do build a lot of it elsewhere. But I mean, I've read so much about it. I firmly disagree. When we look at even our corporations, you can look at Apple and IBM and Google and all these big companies that are out there, a ton of them.
The tech companies.
And they're, well, no, Coca-Cola, whatever as well. They are also saying that we're moving more towards the service economy. And the challenge is that we have is if we don't, and this is where I'm kind of balancing myself between the kind of the Democrat policies and the Republicans, if we don't make it easier for businesses to do business here in the United States, less expensive, this type of dynamic, because there is such a global nature in the industry.
I have 2 words for that.
It goes elsewhere. And that's the problem.
2 words that mean Wells Fargo. You see what happened with those?
What does that have to do with it?
Look at the way they abuse. I mean, these people, the top end, the executives
I
are.
don't disagree, but how did that have to do with my point?
Well, go ahead, John.
I think when, you mentioned a couple of big businesses that are successful now, and I understand what you're saying, Armin, okay? I don't necessarily, I think, disagree with what you're talking about. But it's not so much that these places have done an economic analysis and they've looked at what's best for the American citizen and they've determined that we cannot be a manufacturing country anymore or basically a manufacturing economy. It's rather a recognition of the reality that our economic policies cater to the lion's share of our current economy, which is financial, without question. If 2 policies come before a politician and this one policy benefits the financial industry and it will make trillions of dollars, and another policy doesn't benefit the financial industry but benefits automotive manufacturers and it'll make a couple of billion, they're going to go with the trillion. They know which side their bread's buttered on. Right. So to say that we're moving, so I agree with you that we are moving to a service economy, that we are, and that's because of the policies. But the only reason I disagree with you is I'm not saying that it is what must be. I mean, it is a function of economic policies that are put into place, and these economic policies that are put into place now are there for a reason.
Right.
So we have low wages competing against every single body's, all around the world. All the values of all currencies are competing against the dollar, right?
Well, see, but it's not the workers that's the problem, guys. It is the executive.
You would find cheap labor as an exploit to solving a problem.
This is not a problem of the workers. This is a problem of the executive. That's why I brought up.
Oh, now it's.
I mean, because we live in a gilded age now, where the service economy is king. But look at these guys; they are making more than 300 times what their workers are.
Have to go to criminal jail, and I'm not talking about like Club Fed. I'm talking about serve time and Sing Sing for the stuff that they've been doing.
Yeah, I agree.
The shenanigans at Wells Fargo, I can't believe we allowed our banks to get that big after we bailed them out. And then I can't believe that they're not being prosecuted to the fullest extent.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is what makes this populist movement that Donald Trump has, this populist strategy, so effective.
But there's also a populist movement called Elizabeth Warren, wouldn't you say, Pyong?
I would agree, and she's not a racist twit.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren is a big-time progressive hero, and she should be taking a victory lap now because she got that CEO of, I guess he was a CEO of Wells Fargo to give back out however many $1 million.
But it's in future money. It's not all that money paid in the past.
Exactly, and that's why, boom. What's your IMF standard? International Monetary Fund. I mean, do they have that right to just write off anything? I mean,
to write off.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of trade acts they write off potential loss.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, right?
See, Jim, I don't know. You've been talking about global currency a little bit, and I'm not sure that we're on the same page.
Do you find that devaluing currency is a viable strategy in the global market strategy today?
Yeah, well, we devalue our currency every year.
Oh, but the other people that trade with us make it so they have the advantage all the time.
Yeah, but Jim, I don't think you understand how that fits in with everything because we run trade deficits. Is that what you're getting at? The trade deficits?
Yeah.
Okay, so we run trade deficits with the people who agree with us, but we do that in part so that we can maintain the status as the bankers of the world, that everybody uses the reserve currency as a dollar.
Okay.
And so that's one of the reasons why our financial institutions are the go-to place. I mean, all of these countries, like China, has pallets and pallets and pallets of dollars just stacked up. What are they going to do with them? They ship them back to the United States. And then they go into our bond market. Our bond market is the largest market in the world, okay? And much of that functionality depends on the United States being the reserve currency of the world. So before we point fingers at other countries and say, you're devaluing your currency, why do you think we don't?
Well, maybe you have a situation where you can combine taking away the gold standard and then increasing a petrodollar. Sense. I mean, you can manipulate free markets by saying a currency is based on a liquidity of a commodity.
Yeah, but the reason this always kind of intrigues me, that people they're incensed about this kind of situation, but they don't understand that it all fits together and it works for a reason. You know what I mean? So you've been talking about trimming around the edges, about these policies are unfair, this is unjust, what do you think about this? But I don't make these policies. These policies exist because it has helped us stay on top for a long time.
Okay, one thing, quickly that...
What, do you want to stay on top forever and not let anybody compete with us?
That would exactly be. Donald Trump claims that America's on the decline and it's a terrible place and we're going to crash sometime soon. I mean, do you think that resonates with the electorate?
I think it's always good to be a fearmonger.
Okay, at the debate, he was just, he was blaming Hillary Clinton's 30 years in politics for the state we're in today.
I got to tell you, that was a good line. That was a good line.
Well, how was that a good line? Could you please explain, elucidate?
Well, because it's like, you've been doing this rodeo, this dog and pony show for 30 years. What the hell have you done except screw up the Middle East? Right?
Yeah, it's...
Like, you start to look at, here's my challenge with Hillary. You start to look at what she's actually gotten accomplished in her jobs.
Okay.
And it's a clusterfuck. So the problem is, here's the distinction though. I have one person who has experience in policy, in politics, and has just created a clusterfuck. Whether it's Benghazi, Iran, Iraq, whatever it is, it's like she's running around trying to be big tough girl when she needs to just chill out for a minute and decide what's the best course of action before she drops and shows her balls. Okay.
Now,
on the other side, you have a person with no experience, but has fucked up his business life royally.
So how about this?
So the problem is, I'd rather take somebody who at least now knows two things.
And kill 500,000 Iraqi children. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Where her fuck-ups are, and hopefully she can make those changes. And two, how to not insult and damn near admit to, like, molesting women.
Okay, now, Hillary Clinton looks like a very bad career politician, but we had this period before the Obama administration called the Bush years. I mean, could you compare her accomplishments with, the ones of like...
Oh, no, that's a clusterfuck, too. Right? Oh, my God. I couldn't believe he got another 4 years. His dad was one term. He should have been one term. I would have actually rather Jeb had gone before W.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. If we had to have all these Bushes, it would have been nice to have Jeb before W. But that's a whole nother can of worms. My problem is with the two people who really and truly can be elected right now. You have one person who's just, I mean, who gets mad at someone and then goes on Twitter for 3 hours? Like, everybody knows, don't do the drunken text. He's not doing the drunken text on his cell phone. He's doing it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Wrong.
That's gonna be
no. Okay, look, John.
Politically correct, right there. By the way.
Okay, look, John. The people wanted Bernie Sanders as president, correct? They wanted a real.
Can I comment on something? that you asked earlier?
Go ahead.
Just now. First of all, I agree with Ermine when she said that that was a good attack on Hillary Clinton, because that is outsider versus insider, you know, and that's basically the only tack that Trump has. But he's a moron, and he couldn't drive it home.
Baloney.
So,
Please,
okay,
Jim.
thank you, Jim. So, but there are two. The thing that you said before that was that Trump was always saying that America is on the brink of an apocalypse. That is one of two narratives that are driven by conservative news outlets. Now, see, I have my RSS feed aggregator, and I look at some of these, you know, conservative news feeds, and I talk to people, and all of them that I talk to, they believe two narratives. One, that America is bad, America's being destroyed, it's on the verge of collapse, and two, you can't trust the media. You can't trust them. And those two narratives have kind of fed in to this Trump success, you know, because when the Washington Post, I think it's the Washington Post that does Pinocchios, I can't remember, but when the Washington Post gives Pinocchios to Donald Trump, his supporters can simply say, you can't trust the mainstream media. You can't trust the media.
That's why he hires Breitbart as his campaign.
That's a good point.
That's my point, Jim.
Yeah, but you're making a clear distinction then.
Oh, Breitbart. Now there's good media.
Who knows the distinction? I mean, people look at Breitbart like a rigor source.
Alt-right media now is under the microscope. In other words, we got to stay mainstream. Is that what you're saying?
No, Jim, that's not what I'm saying.
Tell me how you clarify, you know, justify Hillary having a track record that's just totally flawed.
Jim, do you think that the mainstream media lies to you?
Do you want to answer that question first, and then I'll answer it?
Do you
Answer those questions, please, Jim.
Yeah, I would like to answer that question, but do I think that the media lies to me?
Yeah.
I would have to say no.
Okay.
I
say no. You know what? What I like to say is that they want to put a little pony out front and get you all excited about how cute that pony is, and keep you distracted. So go ahead.
What? That's entertainment. That's not me. I will say, though, that media used to be, I would always call them the invisible fourth arm of our democracy. And I think they've fallen asleep so badly on the job. Like, they used to be the ombudsman. They used to go out there and get the stories. They used to go out there and ask tough questions of our politicians during a debate.
Be unbiased.
They are so afraid of the politician not coming back on their show and getting their ratings that they don't do.
When they go up, you know, they get immunity, and they haven't even been charged with anything, but they get immunity.
Okay, but Tim, you got to let me finish. I don't remember what I was going to say.
No, I agree with you. I mean, access. They want to maintain access to the politicians so they don't go after them. There's also this fiction of impartiality, so they want to hear both sides. But see, I have a disagreement with that. Now, I agree with you wholeheartedly when you said they want to get them back on their show, because you have news, the media like CNN, Fox News, NBC, ABC, the television media is much different than the print media.
That's true. I'll give you that.
Like, one thing that I noticed early on, I started using these RSS feed aggregators, and I would put all the major papers together. I have like 35 of these major papers that I look at. I'm astonished when you know, like Breitbart, they say they're not mainstream media, but they're a derivative news source. So is CNN. So is Fox. Fox News.
So is all of them, yeah. So
no, not so is all of them, Jim. But BuzzFeed is, yes, and Breitbart is. And what they do is, there are newspapers that actually generate stories, like the Washington Post, the New York Times,
God,
the LA.
No, just don't go. No, you said the
Settle down. I know that these newspapers have an intrinsic bias that you have recognized, but I want you to settle down, Jim.
All right.
What I'm saying is they create actual news. If you like Reuters, AP, they do the same thing. And then what Fox News, these derivative news sites, pardon me, like CNN, Breitbart, Fox News, MSNBC to an extent, what they'll do is they'll rehash stuff that is generated by the primary news sources. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, what's trending, yeah. Okay.
No, not what's trending. They take the actual fucking article and they reprint it in their site.
They absolutely do. And you know what it reminds me of? It's like literally watching the Young Turks online and thinking that that is news.
Exactly.
Right.
When really what they're selling is the analysis.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They take the story and then they give you the spin. They give you the entertainment that you're looking for. They reinforce your pre-existing conclusions. You agree with them. That's a good story.
Right, very good point, guys. All right, can I bring this? I want to dovetail back to one thing. Okay, let's talk Trump. Okay, how does this guy pull it out? How does the guy pull it out from the teeth of the feet? I mean,
no can do. From today, no can do.
Okay, Ernie, is
It's
this
like Fallout, Nuketown, baby. It's over.
No, it's going to be a landslide victory for Trump. Sorry.
How is this going to be a landslide victory?
It's a landslide, dude.
You know what, Jim? Let me read. Bunto, I don't mean to Shanghai your thing, but let me just read something that was posted on Fox News website, okay, in their politics section. All right, this is a list of quotes. Okay, if I can, the title is "Political World Reacts with Outrage to Trump's Comments About Women." Okay, I'm gonna skip the Democratic ones. I'm gonna Reince Priebus. You know who he is?
Yeah, his own team,
RNC chairman, right? No woman should ever be described in these terms or talked about in this manner ever. House Speaker Paul Ryan, I am sickened by what I heard today. Women are to be championed and revered, not objectified. I hope Mr. Trump treats this situation with the seriousness it deserves and works to demonstrate to the country that he has greater respect for women than this clip suggests. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican in the Senate, lead Republican in the Senate. These comments are repugnant and unacceptable in any circumstance. As the father of 3 daughters, I strongly believe that Trump needs to apologize directly to women and girls everywhere and take full responsibility for the other lack of respect for women shown in his comments on that tape. John McCain, there are no excuses for Donald Trump's offensive and demeaning comments. No woman should ever be victimized by this kind of inappropriate behavior. He alone bears the burden of his conduct and alone should suffer the consequences. Mark Kirk, Illinois, he's embattled. He's probably going to lose his Senate seat. Donald Trump should drop out. GOP should engage rules for emergency replacement. So to say that these are Republicans talking about it.
You should have heard the spin from Hannity tonight.
and that's the funny thing. It's like he destroyed the party.
Yeah.
It's like he destroyed the party, but you don't want to give him the grounds up, the roots of it, going back to an old republic. You don't want to give that to him.
That would be their dream come true, Jim, to go back to the Goldwater Republicans. But listen, guys, this is a 24-hour news cycle. Believe me, he's going to come back with some woman who's going to say, I owe my life to Donald Trump. And that's going to make it better.
He's the only person that I've known who's hired a female as an engineer to construct a building, and it's the first one to ever do it in the United States. I mean, no other female was ever.
Oh my, dude, really?
Where did you hear this?
He's the first one to hire a female to build a building in the United States.
I mean, people under the engineering aspect. In other words, so you think that Donald has a disdain for women?
We think, right?
I'm done with that, Jim. If you want to make that assertion, you can support it. But one thing you said was he destroyed the Republican Party. See, I don't think so. I think that the fact that Donald, he'll be a stain for a long time, but the fact that Donald Trump even got to his position is a manifestation of the schism that exists in the Republican Party. You've got pure breed ideologists, and they're like, we're not cooperating with anyone, fuck them, the extremists, and then you've got the status quo guys. Donald Trump is simply a manifestation of that schism.
Jim is correct. The day after the election, he will be the one credited for destroying the GOP.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so
they're gonna
is wrong then, right? So
they're gonna cut the Republican politicians down ticket. They're gonna cut their bait. They're gonna put their heads down. They're gonna be screaming "Fuck you, Donald Trump" as they're running away for the fallout shelter. That's what it's. Every person for themselves now. Fuck Donald Trump.
Okay, look at this. This is a general election where they put forth one of the worst, if not the worst, candidate of all time.
I agree.
Yeah.
That party is going to have a revolt, I predict, after the day after the election, where they're going to say, never again should anything like this even happen. So you know what's going to happen? They're going to aim their weapons at the Tea Party and pull the trigger. They're going to have to make up their mind. Either we come to the Tea Party or we get rid of them.
It's true.
It's gonna be like, think about this like the PLO. It's going to be like Jordan and the PLO, where King Hussein said, okay, guys, get the fuck out of my country now. It's gonna happen.
Yep. I think that's definitely. Go ahead, Ermi.
Have to. Self-preservation, man.
Yeah, that's
right. That's
yeah.
where we go.
And I mean, I hadn't really thought about it in those terms before, Bunto, but actually, the dynamics are right for it because you've got Paul Ryan, who is very popular,
and he's about to endorse Donald Trump, by the way.
Yeah,
oh no!
He's about to
endorse as of 8 hours ago.
I don't think you realize he booted him from the.
Oh, he's about to.
She's Ermine is right. He disinvited Donald Trump to the Wisconsin rally tomorrow. Mike Pence is going in his place.
Yeah, because the Republican governor is already there.
Yeah. I realize that.
Okay.
This is like the worst nightmare ever for the GOP. True.
Yeah.
It's like if Reagan put on a skirt and came on TV like a tranny. If Ronald Reagan came out as a tranny on national TV, this is like almost as bad. Okay.
See, yeah.
I mean, the nominee is radioactive beyond belief now.
Trump always is going to maintain support from his hardcore base. So, Jim, I don't blame you for sticking with him. That's fine, okay? Everybody is entitled to their political opinion. But Donald Trump needs more than his base to get elected. And what he was doing was he had a mountain to climb to get a lot more than that, whatever, 36 to 40%, whatever he has. He will not get it now. That's it. It's over.
Okay, but what about this? Okay, just to bring up the other end of the argument, he brings up a little old lady who says, he paid for my chemo and I'm live today. I mean, so there's a 24-hour news cycle and everything's all better, right?
Didn't he already do that with the...
This is another old lady, everybody.
He did that with the beauty queen, remember? The beauty queen? You paid for my treatment, Mr. Trump, and I'm alive today because of you. Remember that?
Okay, yeah, search your souls, guys. How's this guy going to turn it around? Just give me anything, any straw to clutch.
Mm-mm.
I think what's going to happen is that WikiLeaks has to take center stage in a way that she did something that is jaw-dropping.
Like, give secrets to ISIL or something. Just something...
Something that is just, unconscionable at this point.
Yeah, like make sure that the FBI director is on board with everything you say.
So Trump, all he needs is a bad Hillary, like Hillary to drop dead or something, right?
All you have to do is have the FBI, which is the good of the good cops, just say, yes, I agree with you. And then you're fine because you know what? You can take immunity without even being charged with anything after a subpoena. I mean, that's
bad arguments that you're presenting.
Yeah, well, bottom line is, look, it smells fishy. It smells fishy. I mean, if Hillary's all of that, I mean, where has she been? I mean,
okay, Jim, when did you start hating Hillary? What was it exactly?
It's just like Bernie selling out. I mean, is Bernie voting supporting Hillary or the party?
Bernie's supporting anybody but Trump. Hello.
That's right, because he wants to support the party, right?
No, because Trump is a fucking Nimrod.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Jim. Something's rotten in Denmark. We need more investigation.
More investigation. All right. How about this, guys?
It's obvious. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Okay, listen.
Bunto, in answer to your question, there's nothing that can be done. I mean, no, there's nothing, dude. I mean, Hillary Clinton has had a terrible, 3 weeks, but nobody's noticed because Donald Trump has been in this downward spiral.
Bad 3 weeks. I think you put it yourself very well to debate. Okay, the thing about Hillary is her health that comes up.
She had
Go ahead.
She had the emails released. Okay, they contradicted what she said. She had new Podesta. There was a new email dump today that said that Hillary Clinton wasn't forthright in what she was saying with the emails from Podesta. Nobody fucking noticed.
I wonder why.
Nobody noticed because Trump's grabbing pussies, right? I mean.
Okay, listen. How can I say? Okay, listen, guys. People out there are wanting us to talk about Gary Johnson and Jill Stein and Bernie Sanders. I mean, why can't we wrap our arms around the third-party clown? Excuse me.
Yeah, but they can't get on the stage for the debate. So if they're not allowed to be on the debate stage, then they're not allowed to be talking.
But you know why they're not allowed to be on the debate stage?
It doesn't matter because they're not going to win. Simple.
That's true. Also, it's like our Congress is set in a way there's only two parties. So really, once the independents get in, I mean, what can they do? They need to somehow get their legislation passed. I mean, how?
Well, I don't know. I've heard that argument and I've made that argument that it would cause gridlock. But I tell you what, it can't be any worse than what Obama has had to deal with since 2010 when he lost the House, which is essentially the Republicans decided to be obstructionist and let nothing through. So there has been gridlock since 2010. I mean, there has not been a lot of stuff happening. So
other than being an obstructionist, can't they also be a voice for the like a pleading or some type of can we change this attitude? You don't find that there?
That's the rhetoric that they put out, but they had a meeting that's been well publicized right after Obama won. They said they didn't have the House, they didn't have the Senate, they didn't have the White House. They said we're going to obstruct. That's their strategy. So as far as Jill Stein and Gary Johnson, I don't think it's within the realm of possibility that either of them would be a candidate. I like Gary Johnson a lot. I like Jill Stein. I think they're reasonable people. I think they're far better candidates than Donald Trump.
Anyone?
Yeah,
I think Pence was doing collateral damage in that last vice president debate, and I think we can expect Trump to be a little bit more refined in this next debate.
Yeah, I disagree with you.
After grabbing pussy and throwing pussy, why are you going to be more refined in the next debate? I
mean,
grabbing pussy? What are you talking about? I don't know what do you do now?
Did you hear what they
did you hear what I read? Oh, you weren't here at the beginning.
Listen.
This was
there you go, the little kid.
What was that?
Anyway, listen, why do we have to have decorum anymore in debates after something like that? I mean, one candidate has totally debauched himself. I mean, let's make the next debate entertainment, don't you think?
No.
Like, he tells, Secretary Clinton, what kind of undies you got on, honey?
I think Kane's a homosexual.
Okay, listen. Trump wanted to bring up Bill Clinton's infidelity and how Hillary Clinton wasn't faithful to Bill. I mean, right? After you get caught with an open mic, you might as well just go after the Clintons' marriage.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to impeach somebody for a cigar, so.
I don't. I mean, he might bring that up. That would be interesting. I don't think it's
going to bring it up on Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, when. Last debate. Let me talk just a little bit about last debate just for a few seconds. Hillary Clinton said something that really didn't appeal to me personally. And she was talking about systemic racism and inequality and that sort of thing. Now, I understand why she was saying that. She wasn't talking to me. She was talking to black voters in North Carolina, black voters in Florida.
Yeah, every 4 years.
Settle down, Jim. Settle fuck down. Settle down, Jim.
Every 4 years.
Settle down. Settle down. So that's who she's talking to. She needs those voters. There's a reason, and it's an important policy. It's an important social policy for those folks, and I don't deny them that. Okay. who would the voters be that he would be going after if he attacked Hillary Clinton for her husband's infidelities? I don't get it.
Or anybody who's ever had their man cheat on them? Like, no, that's not going to work.
Exactly.
No, all he has to do is say, we came, we saw, we killed him. All he has to do is bring up Libya. All he has to do is bring up the vacuum that created an immigration problem. All he has to do is bring up the logical shit that's going on, which has already been condemned as PC incompatibility. Like, he's not like PC or something. What are people talking about? This guy's actually laying it on the line saying, look, we have a problem.
Let me ask you a question.
Out of control.
All I could tell you is that here in Pennsylvania, which has been typically a Democratic state, you don't see no Hillary signs around. I'll tell you that.
Exactly.
Okay. What woman in Pennsylvania is going to vote for this man, Rojo?
My hair cutter is. She's voting for Trump.
She's going to say, hey, you know what? This guy throws pussy. He's got my vote. Is that what she's going to do?
All I know is she's voting for him.
Not anymore.
I think a lot of people are going to change after tonight.
Just saw her 2 days ago.
It's going to be a landslide. It's going to be a landslide.
No woman really cares about Libya, emails, trade deficit. All they know is that, hey, here's a guy, the clown that's been harassing them their whole life has a chance now to be the president of the United States.
Yeah, the beast of the machine.
They're caring about their families. They're caring about their families. They see the rise in health care. They're caring about having money in their pocket to pay the bills and help support their kids and get them to college and everything. All right, that's what the mothers they're concerned about.
Me, right? You're not going to vote for the man.
Okay, I'm going to be the mom here, and I'm going to tell you what women are concerned about.
Well, at least this woman was.
Women are concerned about paying their bills, healthcare, all those different things. And the problem with Trump is that he doesn't believe women are equal to men.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
You're not saying that. Are you?
Right, he looks at women like a sex object, and half of these politicians are criticizing Trump for that. I mean, but come on. They're guys. You're looking at a woman. You're objectifying.
Bro, Joe, you do
some way or another. So yeah, I'm not excusing his stupid behavior and acting like a moron or saying things that he should just say to himself. All right, and I'm not even voting for the guy, but I'm just saying.
Bro, Joe, I suggest that you go look at what he said though, because I tell you what, I look at porn, okay, and I definitely look at women. I'm like, yeah, buddy, I don't talk the way he was speaking. I've never talked that fucking way. In this video, okay, he was not too good. Okay, I mean, just the language he was using was coarse and unrefined and ignorant. I mean, like,
oh wow.
I know he doesn't think before he talks.
It's like this: if the Jews, kind of election where Adolf Hitler showed up, I mean, why are they going to vote for him as president of Israel? It's just that bad, Brojo.
The fuck are you?
Brojo, you got to go see what he said. Just look it up on the internet.
No, he doesn't need to see it because the bottom line is Ermin's saying that he will treat women differently as a president according to what he's done in the past. In other words, it could get worse. Is that what you're saying, Ermin?
I think the best indicator of how you will do things in the future is what you've done in the past. I think that is the truth for Hillary, unfortunately, and I think that is the truth for Trump.
Okay, listen. We had this guy named Richard Nixon who was taking, all sorts of payoffs from people, and then he came out with this checkers speech. Remember that one in the 50s when he was with Eisenhower, and then, that helped him keep with the vice presidential ticket, keep the seat. I mean, so Trump needs to come out with his checker speech saying like, I'm really sad about, saying those things about women, but, my mother was a great person and I love her. You know what I mean? Can't Trump do something like that?
I think it's just
Trump will win and then he's going to bow out and Pence will be your president.
Okay. Trump win is because Hillary. That's the only avenue I see. If Hillary is removed from the equation, people will have no choice but to vote for Trump. So that's why I brought up Hillary's health.
Well, that's what happened when Bernie fucking sold out to the devil. Sorry.
because people now know that there's two evils, and they will vote for the lesser one.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, that's
not already 60% of the country.
I'm sorry. But why does the beginning of the middle of my sentence always interrupt the beginning of yours?
Because you're a woman, Ermine.
Obviously.
He's a Trump supporter. You know that? Look, come on. How could you expect any less from a Trump supporter?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, listen, the universal, what's the franchise suffrage? That was a big mistake in, Donald Trump's eyes, right? That's what he needs to come out with next, right, Pyong? Universal suffrage. Franchise was a bad idea. Maybe we should have an amendment where we repeal that.
I'm a spectator. I'm a political spectator. I love this. I have no idea what's happening next, but I'm going to like watching it. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, if you can give credit to Trump for one thing, I give credit to Trump for a number of things. The Sarah Palin endorsement, for example, fantastic. Removing Mike Pence from the gubernatorial race here in Indiana, love him for that. And now the ratings for the next debate, everybody's going to want to know what Trump's going to do. He's gonna hole up in Trump Tower. He's gonna try to bite his nails. Oh, I really fucked up. Okay, what should I do? What should I do?
Exciting.
Okay, listen.
How about that big hotel? I mean, he's already setting himself up, right? He bought one of the oldest post office in the country, right across from the White House. He's making a hotel out of it, right across from the White House.
Okay, but look, he doesn't show up to the next debate. Is that a problem, or is that a?
I think that would probably be the smartest thing he could do right now, is just to say, I'm focusing on other aspects of the campaign and I'm not showing up to this next debate.
My throat is sore, sorry.
Yep, I've got pneumonia and I can't make it.
Yep, I think that would be really smart. Let some things blow over, do his little apology. Oh, he's on TV with his apology. Hold on.
And Hillary has bullied, attacked, shamed, and intimidated his victims. We will discuss this more in the coming days. See you at the debate on Sunday.
Oh, okay. So there's egg in my face. He is going to show up.
He had issued a written apology.
Whoa, I'm going to have to watch that from the beginning. I missed it, but yeah.
Okay, do women care that Hillary Clinton's married to Bill Clinton, Ermine? Yes or no?
Is it what?
Do women care that Hillary Clinton is married to Bill Clinton?
This is the most disturbing thing I've ever heard yet from one of my friends. She said to me that it's like a good thing to vote for Hillary because Clinton was one of the most successful. We had one of the most successful economies while he was running it. And so her take is that she can always look to him to solve problems. I know, I couldn't believe it. And so it's like having Bill back in the White House and that he's back in the bed. And I was like, well, not really. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. I sat there dumbfounded.
Well, I kind of agree with that in a way. I mean, at least, and here's why I agree with that. Not that she's going to need Bill's advice on how to establish policy and stuff, but think about a new president, inauguration day, they move into the White House. How long does it take before they really know the ropes and that they fully understand how to integrate with the Senate and the House? And
right, even like the Secretary of State, like a governor or a first lady, wouldn't already know this. Right. Okay.
That's my point, Jim.
Yeah, but you're making it. It's like very stupid point. It's a very stupid point you're making, in my opinion. Just so you know. Go ahead.
Let's put that the bright part. Okay, how about you, bro, Joe? I mean, do you have some apprehensions of her being married to Bill Clinton?
I'm not voting for her.
Well, I mean, would you consider that or not? Okay, why aren't you voting for Hillary? Just because she's Hillary Clinton, or why?
Because more in line with the Libertarian Party.
Or just say you can't trust her. Just one of the two.
That too.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
But, in the end, I'll say it over and over, and I know other people say, in the end, this president ain't going to change your world and everything. I think the stuff starts at bottom up.
You
getting
prefer the
involved
party
on a local level. You know what I'm saying? Politics and local
you
level,
prefer the party of
community in that way.
over an accomplished politician like Hillary Clinton, correct?
No, Bro Joe's right.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Okay, the party of Lyndon LaRouche, you remember that? He was like a big, the figurehead of the Libertarian Party. I mean, the guy went to jail. Libertarianism, besides what you read lately, really doesn't have a very clean pedigree.
Where's the perfect party? Give me the perfect party, Bunto. What does it look like to you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Give me.
Okay, how about this? There is no perfect party, but there's a party that accomplishes a lot more for the people. I believe that is the Democratic Party. I mean, would anybody disagree from that? I mean, they guided us through the major world war, the most major world war.
I disagree with it in that I don't think any party has any intrinsic characteristics. They're like brands. They aspire to certain characteristics. They espouse certain characteristics. The characteristics that they actually have are made up of the people who make up the party.
Yeah, but when immigrants can outvote you, that's a problem.
Oh, Jim, give it up. So with what Brojo said earlier, I agree to an extent. The president isn't going to change the world. However, this next president is going to make several Supreme Court nominations, and we'll see how that process works out after this last one. And that could change how you live your life. Stem cell research, gun ownership, religious bigotry, all of these things, abortion rights, all of these things come up before the Supreme Court, and they decide one way or another, so those are pretty important. I'm sorry, Ermine, what were you saying?
I was just being a smartass.
Okay.
I was thinking that they could just stall for 8 years.
Yeah, they could.
That could.
They could.
And
who knows?
An 8-man Supreme Court that just deadlocks decision after decision, right?
Refuses to hear anything. Yeah.
Or you could just put your faith in Donald and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go for it.
Okay, right. People want to put their faith in it.
That is more of a disaster. This whole argument is the most insulting thing. When I hear Donald Trump say to blacks, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, what do you got to lose?
Oh, my God.
Tell me. Just tell me.
What do I have to lose? How about the idea that even when I've been exonerated from raping some Central Park jogger, that some asshole is still going to send me to jail and keep me there because he doesn't believe in DNA evidence? There's so many things that I have to lose, and an asshole like Donald Trump that makes it crystal clear why I would never vote him.
Anecdotal.
That's not anecdotal. He was the one who said the Central Park people shouldn't have been let out of jail. This is him. This is your candidate.
So Frisk is something that you wouldn't...
No, Jim, do you know what Ermine's talking about? She's talking about the one-page advertisement that he published years and years ago. He's not talking about stop and frisk.
Even after the fact, this week, yesterday, he said that they should still be in jail. He doubled down.
Yeah.
Even though DNA evidence exonerated them, even though somebody else admitted to the rape.
Yeah, that's terrible. Well, yeah, he's a moron. He's a fucking moron. I agree with you. He's a moron. He's not
as big as a moron as Hillary. So.
Yes, he's bigger than Hillary.
No, you got 20-something years in the.
What do you have to lose?
No.
You have
to lose when you don't even know. You're guessing.
No, I'm not guessing. When you come out with stuff like that, that's crystal.
Oh, now that's anecdotal in itself.
I have to lose my sovereignty by voting for someone like you.
You don't know that until it happens.
I do, because he doubles down when he's wrong.
Oh my God, you're just making a prediction.
How about this, Jim?
Of your own belief.
Now, Jim. Okay, let's suppose that the RNC never revealed who their nominee was for the president. Would you still vote for that person? I mean,
the same way they rigged the election for the superdelegates. Yeah, okay, I'd agree. Yeah.
Okay, listen. Answer the question, Jim. If
I know, because
with the identity of the
young, sitting around going, "Oh, look, Hillary is much better than Donald."
No, I'm putting forth to you the thought experiment of actually not knowing.
The other option that you have in your Democratic Party doesn't have a choice, and it's already come out, and everybody kind of knows it. So I mean, back that up.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah,
You
Jim,
mean-
that
One
was
sequitur after another.
that was a bit incomprehensible.
Oh, really? That you don't think the superdelegates rigged Bernie?
No.
No.
Super
I
delegate
have to put this forward that
was the DNC that didn't support him the whole time.
Oh,
absolutely right.
That's what it was. Okay.
how about this? That Bernie Sanders was an actual plant of the GOP. Behind destroy the DNC. Okay, I'd like to welcome Green to the show. Green, does it bother you the comments that Donald Trump said earlier? They were disclosed that he said, in 2005 about women.
2005.
Yes, 2005.
Wow, we're talking 11 years ago. Wow.
Right, 11 years ago.
11 years ago, and now we're petty patting, doing Baker.
Okay, this is a tactic of Dr.
Remember a cigar upset vagina. That was you that brought that up.
Seriously.
So yeah, if you
I'm sorry.
remember
This
that,
is 11 years
yes,
ago.
I think this is totally called for.
Jim, do you think that anybody who committed a murder 11 years ago should be let out of jail?
No, but your point is...
Okay.
Yeah,
So not
right.
everything is just forgiven after time.
Yeah, you're right. But comments, sticks and stones may break my bones, but...
I don't know if your mic's working. Frank.
I don't understand
Jimmy,
that from the alt-right. That is such an argument from the alt-right, but they're always complaining about, I don't want to be called a racist. Don't call me a racist. But then they can say anything that they want?
Right.
But you sit in a safe space within your little confines saying that Donald's the fucking dick.
well, it's not so.
I mean, you sit there in the safe space going, well, I can prove to you, listen to these quotes from 11 years ago. Bullshit! The guy may have changed a little bit. He wears flip-flops for a living.
Talking about because nobody said anything about safe space. So just because I'm black doesn't mean I agree with safe space. So you better check yourself, Jim. You better check yourself.
Now listen, is there a statute of limitations on misogyny?
Scared me. Nobody said anything about you being black. What are you talking
Why did you bring up the safe space? Nobody said anything about safe space.
Does that have to do with any ethnicity at all? I mean,
It did because you were talking to me.
oh, I see you. Oh, that's a safe space.
Okay, listen, Jim, you hear a lot of, SJW, anti-SJW, tactics that you can take. I mean, you listen to Breitbart and, where do you get your impetus that, Hillary...
I like Democracy Now! That's what I like, the PBS NewsHour. I keep it general.
I see, but, aren't these left,
I'm calling bullshit on that.
right.
So basically, call it what bullshit? I don't get it.
Well,
Anyway, I want to get Frank mixed in here. Frank, how you doing today? Fine?
A little bit of a headache, but I'm doing all right.
And I'm yelling.
No, it's okay. I'm getting better because I'm drinking some green tea and trying to relax.
I see.
Drinking green tea.
Okay,
Yeah.
Frank, how solid is your Trump vote at the moment? Is it 90?
Well, I don't take Trump seriously. Actually, he kind of made a mockery of the whole politics in the United States, and just because of the way he speaks. And I think, for a person that's representing, even a group of people, they have to represent themselves in a manner that it's responsible.
Inclusive and responsible, I see.
Exactly, because when you're in the spotlight like that, especially when it comes to politics, you have a lot of influence, and hence there's a responsibility. You can't just say whatever you want. There's consequences of what you say.
It's just because you're Muslim, huh?
Has he said anything about, besides, disparaging the Gold Star parents, the Muslim parents?
Well, that's not the only thing. It's just, him, go punch this guy in the face, these type of things, these type of things that he actually talks about. And it's, oh yeah, he's keeping it real. But no, that's not keeping it real. That's being irresponsible. Like if you're some guy from the street, talking that way, you'd be looked at as a nut. But supposedly a guy, I'm serious, yes.
You would think that. And in other words, that doesn't happen in everyday world.
Not only him, Jim, but many voters will.
Yeah, but that happens all the time.
And so that's right.
How does Trump happen all the time?
I mean, like
that is ghetto fabulous.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
How does Donald Trump happen all the time in America? This is the first time in my memory such a thing has been offered.
You're not saying that he doesn't have that Don Corleone mafioso type of mentality?
I knew Don Corleone, and Donald Trump, is no Don
Corleone. That's a good one.
Sorry, I had to go there.
Okay, you think that Donald Trump is just, the bee's knees, right, Jim? I mean, he's still a viable candidate in your mind?
30% of me has doubt, 70% has confidence.
Wow.
Well, that's honest.
He's still working on that, 20%. Maybe try to whittle it down. Maybe over time say that meat is the best way of living. Give a subsidy.
Don't go there. But here's my thing. If Donald can somehow take his movement and revitalize the Republican Party, what he can say, look, I can get control of the Senate now, and I can get actually the Congress to listen to us, I think we're going to have a revolution on our hands in a major format, because corporations are sitting around going, well, we can't start a small business, but the big ones can, and they can hide it off seats. And this is what's going on. And you know what? Anybody that wants to say anything else to that, then you have to prove that the track record of that candidate is not doing. Hillary has already proven she can't maintain a fiscal economy in New York as governor. She lost 250,000 jobs when she said she would gain.
Jimmy, there are some big problems with what you said. Number one, the Republicans have control of the Senate. Number two, Hillary Clinton was not fucking governor of New York.
I mean, senator. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Sorry about that, big dog.
The senator from New York has nothing to do with the budget of New York.
Really? But when you go on a campaign trail and you say, oh, I'm going to bring economy and business back to our state, and it doesn't happen, what do you think that means?
That's not what you said, dumbass.
That's what I meant.
You said that.
What?
No, that's okay. Go ahead. Just change what you were saying.
I mean,
it's okay. Just cut and paste Hillary attacks. That's fine. It's okay.
Oh, good.
Everybody's entitled to their own political opinion. I should not be insulting you.
Well, you obviously were, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, I apologize. I apologize for that.
You are just that type of guy.
I just think it's not hilarious. It'd be funnier if it was someone else's country. God damn it.
Yeah. My main concern with, obviously, like I said, Trump is now radioactive. There's no way he's going to win. However, if, talking just figuratively, if he, just putting a fact pattern together, if he did win, my main concern would be he's demonstrated such absolute ignorance of both foreign and domestic policy that nothing he has said would really be enacted.
Yeah.
So Jim, shut up, Jim. So what? I'm not going to let him talk. Are you crazy? So my problem would be there are think tanks in Washington that are just waiting to implement policy. Their government's in waiting. Right now, well, not anymore, but I'm sure they were courting Trump and saying, we want to help you implement your policy. This is how we can help you. This is how we can get your message out. And what they would do is they would implement their own policy. That's similar to what happened with George W. with the neocons. Go ahead, Ermi.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the challenge that I have is, while I've seen that Clinton has been incompetent, and it will be interesting. I'll just leave it there. My problem with Trump is so base. If you can't keep your hand from a woman's pussy, if you can't keep your mouth shut, if you can't not insult people who are handicapped, Muslims, blacks, Hispanics, more than half of the population at that point.
So he has to be so PC. Okay.
That's not PC, Jim. It's just...
No, it's basic.
Okay, my whole point is, if you can't do the basics of human civility, you have no business running for any office, let alone the most powerful one in the world.
Nice. Okay, last question of the night, guys. Okay.
The most powerful office in the world.
One second, Jim. Trump wins Sunday's debate. Does it matter?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Well, I'll just throw mine out there. Is it, Armin, did I interrupt you? You want to go ahead?
Nope.
Okay, when you were talking about the debate and like if Trump would skip the debate or not, you know, we were talking about that a little bit earlier.
Right.
I don't think it would be in Trump's best interest, and the reason I say that is because debates are places where the underdogs can punch up against the leader, where they can make up space, where they can put their argument forth. I fail to see now how Trump makes up any space. So when you talk winner loser, yeah, he might have some zingers, you know, he may be more composed than he was last time. How he wins it, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. But anyway, so I don't think it's going to matter. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, no, he's going to win in a landslide. It's obvious.
Believe
he's got every single border patrol. He's got the ICE agency. He's got the NRA behind him. How are you going to beat these guys? I mean, you guys, you claim special lobbyists or some special interest, and then you pick and peck and peck at him like he's a inconsiderate piece of shit.
Jim, half the population of America has ovaries. Okay, that half will not vote for this man.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, that's a wonderful point.
I got to put this out there too. I had a conversation with Bunto like a month ago. It was a while back. It was before the first debate, and Bunto called it. He said the women are going to decide this. That was a strange intuition.
It's not
LGBT man. I knew we weren't going to matter, so I knew it was the women.
Hey, Jim, do you understand the Electoral College thing? Do you?
It's the worst thing ever created in the world. Yes.
Okay, so all right, just checking to see if you knew what that was. All right.
Yeah, you would. Hey, wait a minute. Let me ask you this question: would you rather take a popular vote and just say, "Look,
yes,
popular vote wins"?
Yes, like Canada. No. Yeah, no. I think that we should
That's
have.
Why I'm at.
No.
Okay, good.
That's a mob rules. No.
What do you mean mob rules? How
you want like the majority of the people?
Isn't that how we do it now?
No,
you're supposed to be a republic.
College. Nobody in the rural areas of the world would ever have a voice.
No, but everybody would. I mean, it works. It works everywhere. You know, the Electoral College was this bastardized compromise after the what was that? When they were forming government. What did they call it? I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. Continental Congress, right?
Okay.
It was this bastardized compromise where they were arguing this and that and the other, and everybody wanted to retain their local power.
Right.
And so they put together this Electoral College. Canada has a national vote. It's it's very simple. They do it by paper ballot, as a matter of fact, and they've got a governing body over it, which is nonpartisan. I absolutely think that would be a good idea. There are problems with the Electoral College. There are problems with the two parties, vying for power just in the voting, in the actual polling station.
Right, because you can gerrymander any district you want.
Well, that's right. That has more to do with congressional elections, Jim, but I agree with that too. Mm-hmm. But there was an interesting article in Politico recently about what was happening in Pennsylvania with Republicans. They were
scary.
They were monitoring the votes, and what happened was, did you read that, Armin? With the university?
I read that too.
If you looked a certain way, they were objecting.
Right.
You had to get proof from someone who knew you or someone.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
And we could do away with all that. We could just make we have a constitutional amendment. I say this as if it were nothing, but if we had a constitutional amendment, made everybody gave everyone a right to vote, and then had a national poll for the presidency, I think that would work. I think that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, my understanding is the reason why they had the Electoral College is because during back in the days, the southern states didn't have a large population. In order to negotiate power, because the slave states didn't have as much people.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not 100% true, though.
Yeah.
That's not 100%. No.
That is how it started.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I know what he's saying. It sounds like it. He's saying, but you're saying the lack of a district's population, demographically speaking, didn't give them rights. Is that what you're saying?
No, they gave them rights in the sense that because of northern states that they had a larger population instead of the southern states.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm basically saying.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, that makes sense because then the northeastern abolitionists could destroy their economy.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Brojo, with regard to what you said about the United States being a republic, I think it would still retain its republic status because senators and congressmen would be elected locally at the state level.
Correct.
Okay, how about this, Frank? Last question for Frank. Frank, you know, a military person has a mindset in combat, right? You know, when you're put into a combat situation. And what kind of mindset will Donald Trump have going into this?
I think he's dangerous.
You think he'll be?
Yeah, I think he'll be dangerous. I think really will. You know, we need somebody with a cool head, and usually generals actually make very good presidents. You know, because they know combat, they know war.
Yeah, and that's why the vets support him.
Sure.
I mean, seriously, you got all the top generals and colonels supporting him.
You have some. You have a bunch that came out.
The ones that come out and speak against, like, you know.
Yes, there have been numerous ones that have signed a declaration not to vote for him. Like,
oh, really?
Like, read both sides of the both articles. Like, you can't just make these sweeping. Well, you can, but it's effective if you make these sweeping statements without looking at both sides.
Okay, Frank. You know, now that he's in this sort of position, will he be on the attack in this debate? Just striking.
Well, I have to agree with Boom. It doesn't really matter at this point. Yeah, he has to cover up a lot of ground, but who knows? It
doesn't matter what kind of blood he draws out of the debate. It just
it's policy. My whole thing for me too is the environment. I'm really against the Dakota pipeline. I don't see Trump actually, putting forth of alternative energy, which I feel is extremely important.
Oh, okay. So, in order to not give up, okay.
I don't like to pollute rivers.
Yeah, but
I don't like to.
Basically, you have conditions where decades have gone by with traditional families, raising steel, mining and things, and our country is not prepared quite yet to transfer over to this yet, because we do have a tax situation that taxes us, by using gasoline. You understand that, right?
Well,
we just stopped the pipeline coming through our town.
Good.
I don't, and the pipeline was going to go through our drinking reservoir that actually is the drinking water of 5 million people. We had a lot of people coming together and it was against it. Even our politicians here, and they tried to push that. And I say the same thing for the Dakota pipelines. I think having clean drinking water is vital, even for our survival. So I put my priorities in perspective here.
Well, I'll tell you what, on that note, I praise you on that note, Frank. Why don't we go ahead and cap our hangout? Any last words about, Donald Trump? Anyone?
Landslide victory.
Believe me. Just believe me.
I believe another great general named Dick Cheney had something called dead enders at the 2 weeks into the Iraq war, right? I think Jim would qualify as a dead ender. All right. Well, I hope you all have a good night and take care.
You're going to end us in a prayer, Bunto?